Some black people say, Tim Black, why should I support Dr. Cornel West? Well, I got some answers for you right here. My first answer is because Dr. Cornel West scares them. Anything that scares the Democrats and the Republicans, that's good for us, okay? Because them being afraid of the truth helps us. For example, Dr. Cornel West went on Sean Hannity. And instead of being a pawn, like some of my conservative tap dancing black folks are when they go on Fox, and some white folks tap dance too. It's just their tap dancing is offbeat. They go on Fox and all of a sudden they forget how bad Fox is and how bad Trump is on so many things. I digress. Here goes Dr. Cornel West on Sean Hannity, Fox News, and Dr. Cornel ain't playing with him.
And in 1993, it was Biden that co-sponsored the crime bill that resulted in the mass incarceration of African Americans who Biden referred to as predators on our streets. Left-wing scholar Dr. Cornel West is now openly accusing Biden of committing crimes against humanity against African Americans. Dr. West is seeking the Green Party's nomination for president in 2024. He joins us now. Sir, always good to have you back. How are you, my friend?
Oh, indeed. I appreciate you having me back, and hope you and your family are doing all right. It's been a while, my brother.
I love when you call me Brother Sean. You're always welcome to do so. You are saying that Biden committed crimes against humanity against black Americans, and you said his record on race issues, and you called out the Democratic Party's history. Let me ask you this. Why overwhelmingly do minorities and African Americans, Hispanic Americans, why are they still continuing to vote in large numbers in the Democratic Party?
Well, one is, I think, more and more fellow citizens are reaching the conclusion that the whole system is so rotten, brother. You got both parties that are so corrupt, with politicians who are tied to big money. This is true for Republicans. It's true for Democrats. You were talking about Brother Trump himself and Biden's connection to Stennis, Biden's connection to Thurman. We know Brother Trump's, his own father has been tied to the Klan. Trump's language about black people.
Hold on a second. I've never heard his father.
The racism cuts.
Professor, I've never heard that allegation. Never once.
Of Trump.
Now, I know
Trump's
Joe Biden said he didn't want our schools to be integrated and be racial jungles.
No, my brother, you got Dullery. We won't go into all of that now, but I'm not going to say the son has to take the responsibility of the father. Oh, no, we have empirical evidence of that in terms of not just how he treated black people in Queens, but also the fact that he took him to Klan rallies. But this is in the history. But we're not talking about his father. God bless his soul. We're talking about Trump himself. Look, for example, the brother Yusuf Salaam. You know, Yusuf Salaam was one of the Central Park of young brothers who was taken to jail. I was blessed to support him. I live in Harlem. He's now my councilman. What did Brother Trump say about Brother Yusuf? Death penalty,
you made your
not even a fair trial. I want a fair trial for Trump. I want a fair trial for Trump. Did he want a fair trial for that black brother? No. That's his racism, too. It cuts across the board, Brother Sean.
You're talking
to the wrong
person here. I don't rush to judgment. I'm the one that says everyone's innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. You said that black Americans are not a priority for Joe Biden. That's what you said.
That's right. That's right.
And how real is your run for the presidency? And what is the likelihood the Green Party is going to be on the ballot in all 50 states?
Well, we're in the process, my brother, of gaining that ballot access. And my run for the presidency is the same for my run for truth and justice ever since I was 15 years old, which is to say, is real as a heart attack. Because if I remain silent about the mass incarceration, silent about hoods, silent about reservations, silent about poor white and working white folk, silent about the strikes that's taking place, both Trump and Biden on the boss's side when it comes to Hollywood, when it comes to UPS, when it comes to Amazon. I stand with working people. I stand with poor people. I don't care what color they are, brother. They could be your cousins or my cousins. I stand in solidarity with them. It's a moral and a spiritual issue, and that's what it means to have a candidacy that's trying to be critical of the corporate duopoly of both parties tied to corrupt money at the top and militarism abroad, my brother.
Wow, that was something else. What did Dr. Cornel West do in this video that's different than most people when they go on Fox News? What's different? I'll tell you what's different. He didn't throw Biden under the bus, the Democrats under the bus, and then elevate Trump. He threw the Democrats under the bus, but he also called out Donald Trump. He called out Donald Trump and kept it 100 about Donald Trump's track record on race. Not good. See, he didn't just sit back and gain all the benefits from having a conservative audience clap for him because he was saying something negative about Democrats and Joe Biden. He kept his eyes focused on what his intentions are, the realness, and called out Trump and Biden. He made it clear to Sean Hannity, nah, you're not going to bring me on here just to beat up on Biden. So that's something they won't tell you when they talk smack about Dr. West. They won't mention that he had an opportunity on Fox to just throw Biden under the bus, and he deserved to be thrown under the bus. But no, instead, he said, I'm not going to take the bus off you, but I ain't going to back it up over you. Let's get Trump in here for some action. That's called ethics, conviction. Well, one is not just worried about their own pocketbook or their own donations or their subscriptions. Somebody's serious about truth. Because both parties suck. Both parties. Ain't no place to run. Ain't no way to hide. Both parties suck. Both parties are in contempt. Both parties are corrupt. And both Joe Biden and Trump have issues. Biden, definitely. Maybe even more so than Trump. But Cornel West said, you're not going to use me. I'm not going to be your pawn. You're not going to play me. Dr. Cornel West does not deny. Yes, I said it was a crime against humanity. That's what Joe Biden perpetuated. But let's not forget Donald Trump. What is Donald Trump? He wants to be fair treated. He wants fair treatment. He wants fair treatment from the courts. He didn't want it for brothers Salam, Yusef Salam. He didn't want it for the Central Park Five. He wasn't worried about fair treatment for black people trying to rent in his buildings. He wasn't worried about fair treatment. He was watching Klan rallies with his pop. So, we can tell the truth, but we can't tell the truth. But we can talk about Hunter Biden for 20 episodes, but you can't talk about Trump's backstory for 1 or 2 or 10. Hey, man, I understand the economics of it all, but Dr. West represents, he shows that if your focus is the correct focus, then you can tell the truth regarding this party, the two-party system, and hammer it and look in the mirror and feel good about oneself and also be effective. Now, look, I'm not saying that the Fox News viewers, that this went over very, very well with them, but that's not the purpose of of telling the truth. You tell the truth because telling the truth is what exalts you, it's what frees you, and it's what your job is to do. It is your job to tell the truth. You are a servant of the people, and you don't serve the people by lying to them. Dr. Cornel West, this segment may be the only time that a Fox News person actually hears the truth about Trump on that channel. So that's what I like. That's what I love. And this is one of the reasons why Dr. West is a threat to the Democratic Party. And he's a threat to the Republican Party. He's a threat to the entire system. We need to wrap him up and protect this man. Protect him at all places. Because that, my friend, is how you speak truth to power. Not that mealy-mouth nonsense that you hear them doing. These corporate sponsored spokesmodels coming out sashaying for their Democratic Party or the Republican Party. So when Dr. Cornel West went on Anderson Cooper and he leveled him with this,
attributed to a crime against humanity when he became the architect of the mass incarceration regime in the 1990s. You're referring to the 1994 Violent Crime Control and Law Enforcement Act that then Senator Biden sponsored. You have had a remarkable career. You've championed those whose voices have been silenced all your life. We've had you on the program a ton of times talking about that. You've never run a large bureaucracy or had any major governmental leadership role. Isn't that important to actually governing as president?
Oh, absolutely. I'd have to bring in people who are experienced, but the important thing is your vision and the lens through which you view the world. Policy is something that can be worked out in light of vision. If your vision is one of militarism abroad, then you're going to be preoccupied with wars and militaristic adventures. We've known Biden's got a long history. I don't think he's actually seen a war that he hadn't supported. I think the invasion and occupation of Iraq was a crime against humanity. How many precious hundreds of thousands of Iraqis were killed based on a lie? Well, Biden was running interference in that regard. I think mass incarceration in the United States in the last 40 years is a crime against humanity. I've taught in prisons for 41 years. I've stayed in contact with the rich humanity of my brothers and sisters who have been incarcerated. And many have done things they shouldn't have done. And many are there because they're innocent. But the important thing is they are sites of barbarity. We ought to be ashamed to live in a country when you look at the conditions of our brothers and sisters who are incarcerated. And it's not just the 1994 crime bill. You can go back to bills of 84 and 86 and 91 and then 94. You see what I mean? So it's just a matter of trying to be truthful. I'm not trying to trash Brother Biden. I really not. I'm trying to make him accountable for his actions in light of how the wretched of the earth are treated in this nation and around the world. And that's true for any politician, be it Obama, Biden, Clinton, Bush, Trump. All of them have to be measured by the same standard of truth and justice.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. There was really no comeback. What could be said? Nothing. When the truth is the truth, you can't deny the truth. And now we got Anderson Cooper trying to undermine and downplay the death of 500,000. I thought it was closer to 1 million Iraqis.
I want to ask you about the war in Ukraine, because I saw you tweeted out, you said NATO is an expanding instrument of U.S. global power that provoked Russia into a criminal invasion and occupation of Ukraine. You said this proxy war between the American empire and the Russian Federation could lead to World War III. We must stop the war and war crimes, including cluster bombs used by all parties, and embark on diplomatic talks that should lead to a just peace. You believe, I mean, how are you going to bring all sides to the table on Ukraine? And do you really believe that NATO provoked Russia into invading Ukraine?
Well, when Russia was promised that NATO would not move 1 inch, and then a few years later, you got 13 former Soviet-related countries. But wait a minute,
but you're talking about in 1990, there was an agreement signed that right. NATO would not move into East Germany, but actually nothing was said about further east. And it was at the very least it was ambiguous. You can. There's an argument to be made.
It was formal and informal talks, but I mean, you know, the great George Kennan, who's probably had the finest minds of the establishment when it comes to foreign affairs. He said he doesn't understand why NATO needs to exist any longer because it's defensive. Well, the collapse of the Soviet Empire meant, in fact, you no longer even needed NATO. Europe could come up with its own security, but
it certainly, but it doesn't seem like that because the people
as an arm of the American empire. That's the challenge.
He did exactly what he wanted to do. I mean, unchecked, he will slaughter people.
Well, I mean, unchecked, he will slaughter folk. Unchecked, what we did in Iraq was slaughtering people. Unchecked, what we've done in other places. Unchecked,
but sir,
variety
Dr.
of
West,
other empires
Dr.
do
West,
that. Nation states do that, though.
No, I
understand.
They're
wrong. And when they're wrong, you have to pull up. You have to point it out.
I respect you. You know, I love you. But I do think it's inappropriate to compare the Russian bombing of Grozny and what we witnessed there with the war in Iraq. I mean, to say that innocents are killed. I mean, there's no doubt about it. I mean, the horrible things happen.
Half a million Iraqis killed, my brother. Well, 500,000.
Yeah, listen, I was there. I mean, I was there. I was there with troops. I certainly understand. I also saw a lot of Americans getting killed, and I saw, you know, the horrors of Saddam Hussein. I'm just saying I don't think it's accurate to compare the pummeling of a city by Russian artillery with civilians inside, pummeling every single day with the intention of just destroying and flattening a city, with actions the U.S. took. I mean, I don't know. Look, you know, wars, horrible things happen in wars, and it's horrible.
War, that's absolutely. But I mean, you know, and I know any comparative analysis of levels of barbarity and cruelty is going to lend itself to this ugly algebra of blood that we don't want to get into. But all I'm saying is you can't just jump into a situation where people are being treated barbarically. There's no doubt that Ukrainian people are being treated in a barbaric way. That's that murderous way. There's no doubt about that. But the context is one in which that did not have to be if the expansion of NATO, and NATO is an arm of the American global power network. It's
But
just a
what
fact,
you're saying,
my brother.
though, in
Dr. West is sitting there like, I can't believe this guy. Anderson Cooper, what are you doing, man? Are you denying the catastrophic death toll in Iraq? Are you denying 500,000 dead Iraqis? Wow. If it wasn't for the NATO expansion, Ukraine trying to join NATO, then we wouldn't have a war in Ukraine. And if America stopped funding Ukraine, there would be no war tomorrow. So what's going to happen is Trump supporters are going to get an eye-opening, if they're open to it. And Democrat supporters are going to get an eye-opening, whether they like it or not, because they're going to have to hear about this, because I don't think Trump or Biden can go the entire election and pretending Dr. Cornel West is not there, no matter what happens in the Democratic primary. That's the special sauce of this thing. No matter what happens with the Democratic Party, Dr. Cornel West ain't running in the party. So if the nomination is decided that it's Biden, Dr. Cornel West continues to talk. And when I tell you that it's important that Dr. Cornel West do this, this is why. Because we got two things. If you ain't got money and you want to challenge people in power, you got to use your voice and your criticism. That's all you got. You either got money or you got criticism and publicity and momentum. Those are the things. You got to bring those powers to bear. We got to use that. And that's what Dr. Cornel West is doing. And he's continuing to do it on either stage, wherever he goes. And I've always said, and I hope people realize, it doesn't matter where you go as long as you speak truth to power wherever you go, and you're not used as a pawn when you get there. You don't go on a such and such program and dog out black folks with no black audience. Nah, you don't do that. And you don't go to Fox and dog out Biden and forget you at Fox, who perpetuates racial stereotypes and blows dog whistles all day about black people, negative stereotypes about black people. You don't do that. You don't go on MSNBC and throw Republicans under the bus for getting where you are. The party of benign neglect, pretending that they will do things for its voters, its most powerful group, its most supportive base, black Americans, and do nothing except lip service. And Harriet Tubman on the $20 or $50 bill, I forget which bill it is, giving us holidays we already got, like Juneteenth. We already got that. Black people, Dr. Cornel West will not remain silent. He will not take Wall Street money and then go be quiet. Dr. Cornel West will continue to speak the way he has spoken the last 40 years. That is what? Actually longer. He said he's been doing this since he was 15 years old. I don't want to age my brother. Okay, so we'll just say 40. We'll keep it at 40. That's a long time. So that's why this should matter, folks. It matters because, so let's not get all caught up into what about this? What kind of dog does he have, and where was this, did he ever did he ever spit on the sidewalk, and is his wife does she cook grits and collard greens, and does he do no? Let's focus. We ain't got time for that. Let's focus. When Dr. Cornel West is challenging Joe Biden, it helps us. Because now because now Joe Biden has to answer. And we listen. And all the Roland Martins and all the Bakari Sellers, all the Simone Sanders in the world won't be able to back us up off Joe Biden when he starts answering. Okay? And that's why it's important. So people like Tesla and Figaro, right? Challenge, support her when she challenges Vivek Ramaswamy, because she's challenging the Republican ideology, not just that guy sitting there. It's the corruption and the lies and the smears. And he's not saying the quiet part out loud sometimes. He's trying to joke with words. But we know what he's doing. He's undermining black politics. He's downplaying civil rights. So we got to support Tesla, support our truth tellers, support Tim Black, support us as we continue this. Shout out to Senator Nina Turner. Shout out to Dr. Cornel West, Brother Danny Glover as well. Let's continue to work. My name is Tim Black, Real Tim Black, Facebook and Twitter. I see you on the next one. Remember the Tim Black's Black Table. Tim Black's Black Table. No offense to Brother Carr. Brother, we got good taste. You got good taste, bro. We picked the same name. That's why my Black Table is Tim Black's Black Table. Streams with me and my lovely wife. The only left-leaning, progressive-ish, if I'm still called that, but I support gun rights. Right? And I'm calling out racism and bigotry everywhere I go. The only husband and wife, black husband and wife, leftist show that doesn't pull punches anywhere. Support us 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, Facebook and YouTube. Gotta let you know about that. So be here. Support Dr. Cornel West. Go to Cornel West 2024. CornelWest24.com. That's it. CornelWest24.com. Shout out to Hannity. Don't let nobody take your cornbread. We back.
The Black Table. Tim Black's Black Table streams Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern Times. You better tell somebody.